because Michel did his primary degrees in linguistics, so not zoology at all, and then headed off to Malaysia, where he was about 5 years. We were in Malaysia, where a couple of different roles, but he was, I guess his linguistics came in handy for interpreting, but he's also consulting and part-time lecturing and stuff, but he started doing some work on snakes, and he's a consultant herpetologist in Malaysia, and from that really I suppose he was encouraged to do a master's in ecology in Wales, where he started him doing some work on developmental biology he's interested also in evolution anyway, in centipedes. And that led him on the merry road to Galway, because our professor at the time was working on centipedes, and so he offered Michel a PhD on Evo in centipedes. And so Michel started looking at evolution of venom systems and so on in centipedes, and from that he's still here, thankfully. So he is now a part-time lecturer here. I wish we could make him full-time, and hopefully someday. But he's also doing a brilliant job at outreach. So he's running this Eco Explorers program, which is he goes out to schools and teaches them uses his menagerie of cool beasts to teach people about biodiversity and ecology. So, and we're hoping that the plans are to set up a research program here at NUI Galway and take on PhD students and bring in money, and we're hoping he'll stay here and eke out a wonderful career and engage students. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to hand over to Michel for his seminar on predation strategies in arthropods. Okay, thanks, Michel.
Right. Well. So, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, my name is Michel, part-time lecturer over here, and I am absolutely fascinated by predators. So, at the moment, I'm mostly working on arthropod predators, but in the past, yes, I was working quite a lot with snakes, particularly venomous snakes. So, today, I'm going to speak about predation strategies in this huge and fantastic arthropod world. Arthropods represent about 80% of all species of animals described in the world. We're speaking about millions of species. Species that come in all shape, form, color, size, and often they actually trigger our imagination, even for horror movies and things like this, like the Alien movies. The famous Alien is based actually on different type of arthropods. So, first of all, I should just precise the terms over here, because when I say predation strategies in the arthropod world, maybe this doesn't mean much to you. You have to be slightly familiar with zoology to know what predation strategies are and what an arthropod is. So let me explain in slightly more graphic way. I'm going to disappear, I'm going to reappear in a second. When you hear the click of the box, you know what's going to come. So, right here, I hold in my right hand a tarantula. In my left hand, I have a scorpion. Now, these two creatures share a common ancestor that lived about 500 million years ago. Since then, they've specialized into very, very different animals. Oh, they still share similar characteristics. They both have 8 legs, they both have a body that's divided into particular parts. But these two predators have learned and developed and evolved techniques to hunt their prey that are very different. This guy has turned its mouth parts into massive fangs to inject venom. This guy has evolved a pair of claws in front of its body, and it injects venom not with its mouth, but with its bum. It's another way to do it. Seems that it's fairly efficient as well. So we can really wonder why and how these animals have differentiated, why they are so different now, while actually they share a common ancestor. So these are some of the points that I'll discuss, and that I'll try to illustrate, hopefully, with some very bright photo. Now, the tricky moment. Come back here, I'll disappear again, I'll reappear. So, this talk is going to be divided in 6 main parts. First, an introduction. I'm going to tell you what an arthropod is and what predation really is. Then, this talk follows a plan in 5 parts. 5 parts that correspond to the 5 steps to approach and consider predation. Imagine that you're a bug hunting for another bug. The first thing you need to do, you need to be able to detect a prey. The second thing you need to do once you know where your prey is, it's actually to approach this prey without being discovered by the prey. Once you're close to your prey, you need to be able to seize that prey. So you need to be equipped with the weapons to actually seize that prey and hold it very close. Once you hold it, you actually don't want to just hug it. You actually want to kill it and eat it. So you need to find a way to kill it efficiently. This is dispatching. And finally, once your prey is right there in front of you and dead, you can enjoy the reward of all this hard work and actually consume that prey. So, we're going to start with the introduction with a very nice picture of a praying mantis looking at us. And that praying mantis is actually devouring the head of a locust. It might look trivial like this, but if that praying mantis has started with the head, it's for a reason. They don't do that by chance. That praying mantis has started with the head of the locust, because if you cut the head, that locust will not be able to fight back. Most praying mantis will start to eat their prey with the head. They'll start by eating the head rather than the abdomen. So after a few seconds, the prey is dispatched and they can enjoy a very, very quiet meal. Now, the origin of predation. First, what is a predator? A predator is an organism that hunts, kill, and feed on other living animals. So that means that usually we consider that grazers, parasites, and scavengers are not predators. So I often get the question when I'm in schools, is a cow or a rabbit a predator? Because they eat grass. Answer, they are not really predators, because the cow or the rabbit do not kill the grass. Now, if a rabbit root a carrot and violently massacre that carrot to eat it, then we can consider it actually a carrot predator. Now, when and where did predation originate? Very, very central and essential question. When did animals start, or organisms start to eat other organisms? Well, it seems that some of the essential evolutionary steps through evolution occurred through predation. Best example, it is possible that actually eukaryotes, so all animals, plants, and fungi, originate from one particular event. One prokaryote, little bacterium, eating another bacterium. The little bacterium that got phagocyted, that got eaten, managed to survive within the boundary of the other organism, and they became eukaryotes. So it is possible that actually that spectacular biodiversity that we see today is actually the fruit of an act of predation. Then we see also that protists, which are unicellular organisms, tiny, tiny little organisms that predate animals, are also in certain cases predators. These guys are around for a very, very long time, and they predate, yes, all animals. And the first multicellular predators may actually predate the Cambrian explosion. We're speaking about predators, multicellular predators, that existed over 550 million years ago. Once again, we're speaking about a very, very ancient process. Now, we can also wonder, why is it so good or important to be a predator? Well, the answer is actually very simple. It's a question of energy intake. The energy intake is much higher when you're eating meat than when you're grazing plants. Very simple example for that. A cow spends 14 hours every day of every year consuming and processing food to be able to survive. A lion can actually spend as little as 4 hours per week eating in comparison. Because the meat that that lion would eat is full of energy, a lot more energy than the plant the cow is actually grazing. Now, very quick thing, arthropods. What are arthropods? I'm going to do that very short. Arthropods are animals with jointed legs. Basically, it means that all insects, all arachnids, all millipedes, centipedes, and crustaceans are arthropods. So this talk concentrates on these guys, okay? Stuff like this giant centipede here, or this androctonous scorpion here, beetles, crustaceans that come in the form of, for example, this Remipedia, or this other crustacean. Now, I could not do this talk without speaking about, very briefly, about evolutionary pressure. It's actually something very simple. Predators are in a constant fight, a constant battle with their prey to be able to survive. Their prey are getting more and more resistant to venom. They develop new techniques and tactics to actually avoid the predator. Sometimes they develop other chemical weapons, poisons, so they can't get eaten. And predators have to adapt. They have to adapt very fast, otherwise they'll starve and disappear. So there is that very intense arm race that goes on between prey and predators. And that drives variation. Variation in limb form, variation in hunting techniques, variation in behavior. So the evolution of capture method is actually a conditio sine qua non for predation, something very important. And this explains the variations we can observe even within the same clade of arthropod. For example, over here, I hope that it's clear enough for you, we have arachnids. All of them are arachnids. All of them are predators. But they all hunt using different techniques, using different weapons, ranging from claws to much, much larger raptorial arms, to venomous fangs, to other kind of massive jaws, to a venomous bun, to another type of scissors jaws, all evolved independently in the same group of animals. But the first step in predation, it is detection, how to detect the prey. And here we have a nice example of a spider standing on its web with the feet, the front feet, just feeling the thread of silk, waiting for vibration. If there is vibration on that silk, it means that a bug is being caught there. That spider will know immediately how far that bug is and how heavy that bug is. It seems that they can't make the difference between different types of bugs, but at least between different weight of bugs. So how do these arthropods feel what is around them? Well, they often do not use their eyesight. Some of them do, like this little Salticide spider with beautiful big eyes. But most of them will use sensillae. Sensillae are tiny little hairs, so that are distributed all around the arthropod body. Good example, tarantulas, very furry. All this fur, which is actually not fur, is an assemblage of sensillae, sensory hair. And those sensory hairs are actually sensitive to mechanical, chemical, and environmental stimuli. That means that, for example, a scorpion can feel the difference in air temperature, air pressure, air vibration, chemical composition of the ground. They are extremely, extremely sensitive. They are very well adapted to feel a potential prey or threat anywhere in their vicinity. And just so to elaborate a little bit on scorpions, I said so sensitive to chemical trace, sensitive to air displacement, seismic vibration. But we can wonder, do they need just one single sense to feel a prey, or do they need all the senses to work together? Do they know that the cricket in front of them is actually a prey if they can only smell it, but if they can't feel its vibration on the ground? Well, I have a little video to show you for that, and you'll see it's pretty fun. It's hidden right there. Up. Let's make that bigger. This is an emperor scorpion hunting a cricket in a bowl. The cricket is actually in the water. That means that this cricket is actually not behaving like a normal cricket. That scorpion can taste the cricket. But the vibration emitted by the cricket do not correspond to the normal vibration emitted by a cricket on the ground. That scorpion doesn't know what to do anymore. He has his claw in the water. His claws in the water. He knows that this water tastes like cricket, and that seems delicious. But every time the cricket passes in front, he avoids it until the cricket step just on the ground. As soon as that cricket puts one leg on the ground, the scorpion smells and feels the vibration of the cricket. He has two senses telling him there is a cricket right there, and he goes for the kill. He can catch it then. When senses are isolated, usually you won't have a good predatory response. Senses have to work all together for the animal to be sure that it is a prey that is present just in front of it. We're gonna close that, up, and go back there. Now, something else about scorpion that you can explore on your own if you want to. It seems that scorpions actually can find their way in a simple maze in a non-random manner by tapping their legs on the sand. And it's been suggested, but we don't really know, that scorpions actually might use seismic echolocation. Something very exciting maybe for some of you, because it would make a very nice fourth year project. Do scorpions use seismic echolocation? Now, amplification of signals. Sometimes your senses are not enough. You need to use a tool to actually feel prey that are a little bit further from you. Spiders are an excellent example with the use of webs. Then we know that the pedipalps of scorpions may amplify seismic vibration. But another critter, the antlion larva, has found another way. Why not make a funnel out of sand, right at the bottom of the funnel, and every time a little sand grain falls into the funnel, well, it may mean that actually there is a bug around. So we'll see how the antlion is actually hunting. So obviously not that kind of lion. But that kind. Have a look at this fantastic creature. Fully adapted to live underground. Doesn't move fast, can't run, can't jump, can't fly. It has to stay on the ground. And, thank you very much, it's so much better. And once on the ground, it's going to do a nest. We'll look at it work real fast. Hop. Digging himself, and there you go. Making its funnel. Dig, 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 dig. Spray sand everywhere. And it's going to wait underground at the bottom of that funnel. And it's going to wait particularly for ants. And as soon as an ant will pass by, that ant will actually disturb the ground ever so slightly. A few little sand grains would fall, sometimes the ant would fall, and then the antlion will just project sand at the ant until it's at the bottom of the pit. And then it can seize it with its jaws and devour it. Very creative way of hunting. And boom, I think that's the end of the end. Oh, we'll let it disappear under the sand, and there it goes. like there. So sometimes animals are capable of actually increasing the range of their perception using what is around them. Now, second part. We've seen how arthropods can actually sense their prey. Now, how do they approach their prey? I'm going to speak about aggressive mimicry. These animals have to conceal their presence not to avoid predators, but to avoid being felt, smelled, discovered by their prey. So for example, here we have a huntsman hidden on the bark of a tree. It's an excellent, excellent camouflage. So let's have a look at this idea of camouflage. 4 examples of camouflage here. I'm going to need your participation on this one. First, over here, do you see that bug? Yeah? No? We are looking at an orchid praying mantis. That is an orchid flower. That is a praying mantis head. These are praying mantis raptorial arms. You see, crypsis and camouflage can be visual. You can look like something you're not to deceive your opponent. That is the way we think about camouflage always. But sometimes it's a bit trickier than that. Do you know what kind of organism is that? Any idea? A frog. That's the usual answer I get. It's not a frog. This is a spider. That is a spider. That is a bird poo spider. Let me explain. Bird poo spiders have found a fantastic way first to avoid birds. By looking like a bird poo, birds are not going to try to eat you. Okay? They don't eat their own feces, so you're pretty safe that way. Then, if you look like a poo, well, other bugs will not think that actually you're a spider ready to eat them. But that's not all. That spider actually smells like poo. And that's even better. This is olfactive mimicry. That starts to be really developed. And that means that this spider actually attracts flies. Flies attracted by poo. It's dual purpose. It's fantastic. Now, we know also that crypsis can be visual, can be olfactory. Here, we have a catidid. Catidid, grasshopper. But not any type of grasshopper. This is a carnivorous grasshopper. That grasshopper will actually make the love song of lady cicadas to attract male cicadas. That is devious. It's that animal will so attract male cicadas that are sure that they're going to find a female that's ready for a bit of fun. And they end up with a giant grasshopper that will rip them apart. Sometimes crypsis can be auditory. Camouflage can be auditory as well. And then we have something else. Do you recognize that animal? What does it look like? An ant. A fire ant, an ant. This is not an ant. This is a spider posing for an ant. That spider feeds on ants. So what better method than look like an ant, live in an ant nest, and just feed on whatever passes by? That spider can do it. Spiders always have 8 legs. Ants have 6 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Spider. Amazing little animal that has decided to basically live in a giant fridge full of food. Ant nest. Now, if you do not have the ability to develop so this crypsis, well, sometimes you just have to conceal your presence. You can do that in different ways. One of them is to cover yourself with mud and look like a little mud ball. This is actually an assassin bug. That's the head of the assassin bug. This is the rostrum of the assassin bug. This is a leg. That's another leg. There is another leg there. The abdomen's over there. Very, very well hidden. Some other assassin bugs actually decide to cover their body with the cadavers of their dead prey. These guys eat ants. Once they've eaten that ant, they'll just stick it on their back. And after a while, they just look like a big pile of dead ants. So of course, a live, fresh ant just passed by and said, oh, okay, dead ants, everything's fine, no problem, and boom, gets eaten. And then it will just stick it on its back again. And after a while, ants will not recognize it at all, at all. You have some other animals that just use what is surrounding them. This is an assassin spider from South Africa. And I'm going to show you how it actually conceals itself. Look at that. Dig, dig, dig. Try to fit that big bum in there. Dig, dig, dig. Try again. Is that comfy enough? Trial. Nah. Nah. Have to move again. Go. Try that. No. No. Needs more. Digs a bit more. Sits in there comfy. And then. Ta-da! And then it goes with an evil laugh. Nobody can see me. Now, once you manage to actually hide your identity and approach your prey, what you should do is actually seize that prey. And for that, you need to have very particular weapons. For example, in the case of MBPG, you can see those massive spikes and these kind of ends that look like clubs. These are actually raptorial arms that they can use to impale their prey. So they're very well equipped for seizing prey. A good example is actually found in the arachnids. So among the arachnids, I've taken 4 different groups. I could have taken some others as well. All these guys have a pair of appendages close to their heads called pedipalps. The pedipalps in spiders look like little legs. In fact, male spiders carry their sexual organs on these pedipalps. Like I say, some people carry their heart on their sleeves. Well, some spiders carry their penises on their sleeves. You have these guys, and you have, for example, scorpions that you all know, with big pinchers as pedipalps. Then you have more obscure groups, like these vingeroots, that also have claws in front, very similar to the one you would find in scorpions. And you have camel spiders that have pedipalps that are very long and look very much like the pedipalps of spiders. But what's pretty tricky in there is that these guys and these guys are only very distinct far apart cousins. Vingeroots and scorpions are very distant cousins. Spiders and vingeroots are very close cousins. One has developed claws, the other one has developed kind of leg-like structure. Scorpions and camel spiders are very close cousins. One has developed claws, the other one leg-like structure. These are excellent examples of parallel evolution. They all have evolved that independently. And still, they're all fulfilling the same function. There are only that many ways to catch a prey. There is only that many ways that work to actually seize an animal. Usually, opposite fingers work very well. But spiders are not the only one to be well equipped. You have also a lot of insects and crustaceans that are very well equipped. For example, the reduvidae, so the assassin bugs that can have massive raptorial arms. Fantastic photo here. And you can find reduvidae in Ireland as well. They're very small, about 1 centimeter long, but they really have these raptorial arms. Very, very impressive. Of course, you all know the praying mantis. The praying mantis that has these raptorial arms, very famous. And once again, no direct link between the praying mantis and the reduvidae. In fact, the closest cousins of praying mantis are cockroaches. So, you see, they develop similar weapons to fulfill similar purpose. we can see that among the Reduvidae and the assassin bugs, even in an aquatic environment, they'll develop these raptorial arms. And then you have the ultimate weapon as far as raptorial arms are concerned, the mantis shrimps and the pistol shrimps. Guys that are capable of moving their claws at incredible speed, heating up the water if I am right over 4,000 degrees. They'll actually vaporize the water when they're doing that. They'll make a mini explosion. The shock wave can kill a fish, a small fish, several centimeters away. Fantastic way to actually catch a prey. These guys don't even need to seize the prey anymore. They can kill it at a distance. It's probably one of the most elaborate killing way that I've ever heard of. Now, if you're not equipped with raptorial arms, well, you have to come with another solution. Sometimes you have to be a bit creative. One of the ways is, for example, like this larva of a caddisfly, to make a net. The larva is living at the bottom there, just at the end of the net. Current is flowing this way. So microorganisms enter there, are funneled in there, and end up in the caddisfly larva mouth. Very good way to feel. Just stay there, open your mouth, and rest. Good deal. Now, you know that spiders so make webs. But did you know that actually a spider web is not just a passive trap? It's not just a wait and see what happens trap. In fact, the web is electrically charged. And bugs tend to be electrically charged as well. But bugs are positively charged, while the web is negatively charged. That means that actually the web comes towards the bug. And I'm going to show you that very fast. Up. That metallic ball is charged. When it's charged negatively, you can see that we have a very strong response from the spider web. So when a bug is actually flying close to a spider web, it just not fall in the spider web. It's actually caught by the spider web. The spider web will move to get closer to the bug. Fairly interesting way. And another way to catch bugs when you're a spider is to be an ogre-faced spider. Look at that guy. Massive eyes, definitely using its eyesight to hunt, and also making a net that it can throw. Spotted a prey, boom. Look at this. Fantastic technique. Absolutely fantastic. So you see, there are very creative ways to actually seize a prey. Finally, dispatching, going for the kill. Here I have a picture suggests of the stinger, the tailson of a particular scorpion, Androctonus australis. Androctonus australis, which is fairly famous because that species kills hundreds of people every year. One of the very few species of scorpions in the world that is truly dangerous. Now, the first way to dispatch a prey is to chew it to death. That's mechanical dispatch. A lot of beetles are really good at that. They have big jaws that work sideways like pliers, and they just mash the prey. So you can see, for example, that Cincy delinea here, these big mandibles. You see that ant with very, very big mandibles. And here is also a beetle chewing on a mealworm. Well, that video is a little bit gruesome. I'm going to spare you that one. But when you are not equipped with massive mandibles, there is another method to get rid of the prey. It's venom. You've all heard of venom, but what is it exactly? First, a little definition. So venom is a toxic substance that is always produced within a particular organ of an animal. It's something that animals do, and it's always produced in an organ. It is injected in prey or potential threat via a very sharp device. For example, the fangs of a snake, the stinger of a scorpion, the fangs of a tarantula, the forcipule of a centipede, the barb of certain fish. Or, I don't know, there'd be plenty of other examples. There are actually a few down here. Even rubber flies are venomous. If we take the example of centipedes, centipedes are known to be very aggressive predators, using a very potent venom. The venom of the centipede Scolopendra dehani has been investigated for the first time 2 years ago. And it yielded amazing results. If I remember correctly, 543 different protein-coding genes expressed in the venom glands of a centipede. That is the possibilities for a lot of venom combinations. In fact, we know from experience that the venom of centipedes includes neurotoxin that will attack your central nervous system, cardiotoxin that will change the polarity of the cell surrounding your heart, myotoxin that will basically push your cells to commit suicide, and we have also hemolytics that will change the clotting properties of your blood. We have pain inducers that are going to make you cry for a good while, definitely. And we have also allergens that can make you swell up big time. So definitely not a good idea to get bitten by big centipedes. But you imagine the potential in all these 543 potential proteins to actually kill prey. To actually kill many different types of prey. This is how you can become an opportunistic predator. This is how you can hunt a wide array of animals. You can kill them all. You produce specific venom for them all. It's perfect. Now, I mentioned that earlier, I'm just going to repeat it here. Venom systems have often evolved independently in a multitude of arthropods, and sometimes even within the same clade. Like I said earlier, for a spider, we're speaking about venom fangs. In scorpions, we're speaking about the tail sun, so at the end of the abdomen. Here, not a scorpion, a pseudoscorpion. We find these guys in Ireland. They're anywhere between 2 and 4 or 5 millimeters. Pseudoscorpions have evolved a venom system that was discovered quite recently on their claws. Same group of animals, arachnids, and we have venom fangs, venomous abdomen, and venomous claws. Absolutely fantastic. Venom optimization, I'm going to be very brief on that one. So it's an idea that's very simple. We have realized that a lot of arthropods are actually not using their venom in a random manner. Spiders, centipedes, some scorpions definitely use their venom in a very, very energy-savvy way. They will inject venom if they have enough of it to kill the prey. If you give them a big prey and you've taken away their venom, they'll run away. They won't even attempt to attack that animal. If you give them a prey that's very resistant to the venom, they'll avoid it. They'll go for a prey that's less resistant to the venom. And if they go for the kill, instead of just injecting venom anywhere in the body of that arthropod, they will manipulate that prey to inject venom where it is most efficient. The head, the thorax, close to the central nervous cord. They actually know, for some reason, how to manipulate this prey. Why or how, what physiological, behavioral pathway are involved in that, we have no idea. We just know that it exists, that it happens. So something very interesting again, something that needs to be investigated. Is it innate? Are they born with that instinct? Or do they learn it? Do they actually learn how to hunt different types of prey through their life? We actually don't know. Now, very brief, and we're good. Ingesting, so consumption and conclusion, with an absolutely fantastic picture from Igor Sivanovich, who's an amazing macro shot photographer. Here it's a sun spider, a camel spider, and you can see these Caesar jaws. These guys have no venom, but they just use that to tear anything into pieces. The first way to actually eat a prey is external digestion. This is the case for spiders or for some assassin bugs that actually do not have jaws. They don't have jaws and they can't chew food. Because they can't chew food, they can only ingest liquid food. Instead of a mouth they actually have a straw. So what they do is that they will just inject venom, paralytic, into the prey, then digestive juices into the prey, make sure that everything inside the prey is actually liquid, pre-digested, and once everything's liquid in there, they will just suck everything back up. They're just basically feeding on the broth. I'm going to show you actually a very quick little video there. Up. Look at that. Up. This is an assassin bug that has injected a beetle with venom, with paralytic, and is now simply sucking the juices from that beetle. When you don't have a mouth, well, you adapt. And they adapted very well. So that is the first way to actually consume a prey. Another way is, of course, to use proper mouth parts to tear pieces of flesh apart. In a lot of insects, you will find mandibles. We've seen them earlier in some of the beetles and in a picture of an ant. Then you can have also piercing devices like the forcipulse plus the maxillaries of centipedes. We've seen just now the proboscis of some of the bugs, so to have external digestion. We have animals that have kind of opposite fingers to just grab prey and tear them apart and then bring that food to the mouth. We have other species that actually have scissors instead of jaws. They can cut through a lot of different flesh, even leather. Very, very strong jaws. And then we have spiders, like most of the spiders we have in Ireland, that have jackknife chelicerae. So sideways, very, very sharp claws that are used to restrain a prey, inject venom, and then after apply pressure on the prey to just squeeze it and make sure that all the juices are coming towards the mouth. Now, I'm going to stop here for that, and maybe some of you will have some questions. The last thing I'd like to say is that the study of all these predators and predatory strategies is fundamental to our understanding of evolutionary and ecological dynamics, because of that particular arm race I was speaking about earlier. The use of predator arthropods as biomarkers is already asserted now in certain parts of the world. They've been used as well, for example, scorpion, to try and recreate arthropod brain artificially. And there are researchers, for example, in Malaysia, that are now developing a robotic scorpion. We have, of course, advanced in the pharmaceutical world because of all the toxins that are available through venom and arthropod venom. The future treatment, probably for certain cancers, for strokes, for heart problems, lies within all these resources that are available in the form of venoms. We have the use of all these predators in agricultural biocontrol, something very tricky to do because you can very easily unbalance an ecosystem, but it is used in certain parts of the world as well. And of course, simply for beauty and for curiosity. You have an amazing world at your doorstep. Remember that island has over 12,000 different types of bugs, that there are still species to be discovered, that they come in all shapes, color and form. All these pictures were taken actually in Europe. And a lot of these animals are really, really beautiful. So I would just invite you to have a look around you and discover some of them. And that's about it. I'll finish there. Thanks.
Thanks, Michel. Brilliant.
You're welcome.
As usual, we'll open up to students first for questions, and then we go on to staff after that. Will any of the students have questions? Don't be shy. No? About staff? Oh, here's the page. Go on.
I just kind of have an Evo question for you.
Oh, no.
So,
Go on.
you know, you were saying about the pedipalps, where you had the parallel evolution in the two groups.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, is it the same genetic switches in those? Or kind of
Absolutely no idea. It hasn't been done yet for a very good reason. A lot of them actually give birth to live babies. It's development, internal development of eggs hasn't been investigated. We could work on that.
Well, I was just going to ask about camel spiders, because you kept making reference to the fact that they weren't very like spiders, and I wonder,
No.
are they actually spiders or are they just called spiders?
They're just called spiders. It's actually one of the major problems for a lot of arthropods. We call them in a way that they should not be called. And camel spiders, that are also called sun spiders, are actually not spiders at all. They are a totally different group of arachnids. People tend to think that there are only two types of arachnids, the spiders and the others. There are actually, I think, 11 different orders of arachnids.
When you mentioned the venom,
Yeah.
and you listed all the weird and wonderful consequences of venom, how it attacks the body, and one of the things you had up was pain inducers.
Yeah.
Does the venom cause pain purely because of the other things that it's doing, or does it just cause pain for pain itself?
It
Is there a
seems.
reason for doing that?
Yeah, it seems that in some animals, like centipedes, pain inducers actually have a reason. It's to deter potential predators. Basically, an animal that tries to attack a centipede once and gets bitten will probably never approach a centipede anymore. Yeah.
When you talk about the scorpion picking up the locust or the cricket,
Yeah.
you said a few times that it can smell or taste.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like, where is the sensor?
The sensors are actually everywhere on the body. The sensors are all these tiny little hair, the sensillae. Basically, you have some sensillae like the Sensillum basiconicum that has a tiny little pore at the end of it, measuring about 150 to 200 nanometers in diameter. So we're speaking in billions of a meter. And these particular sensillae will receive chemical components that are present in the water, in the ground, or in the air. And this is how the scorpion actually will make the relation between a stimuli and a prey. So by having its claws in the water, it does taste the cricket. But the vibration are nothing like a cricket. And so that scorpion was giving a very confused answer. Very intrigued by that smell, because that smells like food and it's hungry, so it would stay there. But every time the cricket would approach it, no, I can't do that, no. And as soon as the cricket would go away, it would embarrass, no, that tastes like food, no, really not. And he needed to get that vibration stimuli when the cricket has put one foot, one leg on the ground, said, yes, that is actually food, and boom. So that was the idea.
Okay, we really have to stop. Oh, one last question. 'Cause
Just
there's
when the centipede is biting, can it change its venom, or does it always have the one venom and then?
This is something that I'd love to work on. It's actually, hopefully, that's going to be my next project, venom variations, because it's something that has not been thoroughly investigated.
Okay, let's leave it there. Will you start again?